another episode of Chatty Broads with Bekah and Jess.
Well, hello, Broads.
Good morning.
Broads, things are different
Good
now.
morning,
If you're not
sun.
watching the YouTube...
Oh my God. Wait, I'm so dead. I didn't even notice that. Have you actually been drinking that?
Yes, I have.
Khloe Kardashian.
Look at the
You made
times.
that all.
Oh, yeah. Broads, if you're not watching the YouTube, I had just pulled out from behind my back like a little sexy magician this gigantic gallon jug of water because guess what? I wasn't drinking water before and now I'm drinking a gallon a day. Things are different now and I'm hydrated
done it?
AF. I have. And I won't lie
You're
to you.
peeing 20 times a day.
Yes, I also feel a little sick.
Oh, yeah. You're going to be like the Pepsi guy.
It's a little much. And I have been taking this water bottle places. I've had a few doctor's appointments recently. And when I am in front of the doctor, I will say the doctors and the nurses are like, it might be too much.
The great thing is this is like a weapon, you know? So you could just, if anyone tries to attack you in a parking lot, you could
It
just
is.
swing it and you're going to send them to the hospital.
I will say I do enjoy the spectacle of it. People comment constantly. They're like,
Look at
wow.
So it's 10:38. Remember your goal. It says 11 a.m. Remember your goal.
I know.
Drink, bitch.
I need to start drinking up. But
Drinky,
look at it.
drinky.
Not bad already.
No, not bad.
We're crushing. We're cruising on the time.
That is pretty good. You're what, 20, 30, almost 30. You're almost. See, the nice thing about the straw too, you need a water bottle with a straw. With a straw, it's so much easier to drink more water. You can't do this whole lifting up, spraying yourself with a wave every time.
You told me about this straw.
Yes.
And Broads, this is a tip. It's a trick. It's a gift from Bekah. It's changed. The straw has changed the game for me. I have a little bit of an oral fixation. I used to be a huge gum chewer. You know, I just like having something.
Me, the pencil erasers. I know, I'm the same way.
So to have the straw, I'm drinking all day.
Wow.
It is a gift.
I'm posting on my Instagram right now a transformation. I said 3 weeks ago, Jess was drinking 5 ounces of water a week. Now look at her, a transformation. Beautiful. That's beautiful.
Call me a hydrated butterfly metamorphosis queen.
And that's on growth.
But you know what? That's the thing. I am now drinking a gallon of water a day because my new powerlifting
Oh my God,
coach
tell me all about it. You already told me the other day.
She told me that I need to start drinking a gallon. So the doctors might be a little...
How many ounces is a gallon?
I have no idea.
Me neither.
The doctor might be a little concerned at how much water it is, but my powerlifting coach says yes.
Yes.
And so the powerlifting has been going great. My whole body hurts so badly.
What should she have you start out doing?
I mean, just working on my form to make sure that I'm going to be doing this correctly. But she says I'm doing pretty good. And I was starting to, and she goes, you have great mobility. And I said, no one's told me that once in my whole life. So I will be going
That's
here.
what my trainer says too, but I'm like, yeah, I've never been told. I think mobility is different than flexibility or coordination.
I think you might be right because I'm like, flexible?
I know. I'm like, I don't know what. She says the same thing to me. I'm like, I've never been told. Yeah, I have great mobility.
If you had a camera in my bedroom, you might say otherwise.
She is mobile.
There are two positions. Flexible, she is not. And then it's like weight training after.
Yeah.
Like half of it is me practicing on my form. So I'm hoping to have a Tamara Judge situation where then I'm inviting you to my competitions.
Oh my God. I have to start. I was just thinking when you texted me last week, or when you said last week on the podcast that you're starting to see a personal trainer 3 times a week. I'm like, God damn it. I got to get back on my game. I haven't been working out, and you're going to have an ass and thighs out of this world in about 8 months.
Thank you.
So I've got time.
My thing is this, I had got a personal trainer one time for a little smidgy before I got married.
Yeah.
I was like, it's just what everyone supposedly does, so I guess I should do it. Well, here's the problem. Never been a big gym girl, never been a big working out girl. I have to force myself to do it. That's why I'm trying this. When I went to the personal trainer years ago, I was too shy to be honest and say, I am not athletic. I am not skilled. My cardio blows. I am literally puking after just like a moment of running. I patted it and I said, I work out. And he's like
3 times a week.
Exactly. He's like, how often do you work out? And I'm like, it's been years. But outwardly, I told him, fairly regularly. And so then, day one, worst experience ever, because he's expecting me to know all these things and I know nothing. And then I'm embarrassed and then I never go back. What I now have learned is humility is the key. When I go to a trainer, and I told her, I was so honest and I told her everything. So now I'm like, I go in and I'm feeling super comfortable because I'm like, I don't know anything.
Yeah.
So you're pushing me, but I also feel comfortable being like, don't know how to do that. Don't know how to do that at all.
Are you at like a big gym or like a little small place?
Very small.
I know, that's kind of nice.
And it's ladies only.
Nice.
Which I love.
Really nice.
Yes. Powerlifting ladies.
Powerlifting queens.
Yes.
Next you're going to be in, you'd actually be so good at it at the like the WWE girls, like the Glow girls.
I would love to do that. I mean, you've had your
have my
taste in that,
on The Bachelor.
And I will say you were fantastic at it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, my only powerlifting problem and something that I have now discovered, you put it like on the back of your neck or like upper back.
Yeah.
Well, I have now discovered that I have a tiny hump because of how bad my posture is. I have that I forget what it's called, that little bump. And so I'm seeing like I got to get that fixed because that's on 2 years of the pandemic looking down at my phone constantly. And I have a little hump that is where the bar for the weight rests on. And it's a problem.
Is that normal though?
It's
normal for all of us now, bitches.
I mean, it's proper. It's there. Everyone check your back right now. You got to get that fixed. So I was online.
Just gonna hammer it out.
I was online ordering everything, like all these weird pillows.
Really?
Because then, then you're in your head and I'm looking at like my profile and I can
my posture
fully
sucks.
And I can fully see.
Jess, we've got to get in chair. We've got to get in chairs and a table.
I know.
This is why I need to go to the chiropractor twice a week now. Is because I perch myself in this corner.
I know.
And then I'm turning my body and then my knees are. We should get stools because then you like have to sit up straight with stools.
Oh, that's true, but I just feel like I don't think I'll podcast while on a stool.
We're just bouncing on balls.
I feel like if I'm on a stool, I'm going to be way too proper.
What about just straight back chairs?
I could do that.
I like straight back chairs. Like good old fashioned wooden chairs. Let's just get let's do like a Quaker kind of set. How about that? We'll have like a butter churn in the corner.
Yes, and then we can also get those posture things that send a little zap of electrocution.
What?
When they have those. You can purchase them, and when you start to slouch, it zaps you.
Well, you're not a masochist. That sounds horrible.
I got one.
Did you really?
It's coming. We'll see how it goes.
Do you like tape it to your back? What is this?
No, it's like a thing that
device?
You wear. It's like a little
like a
holster type looking thing that you wear. Mm-hmm.
No way, and it sparks you?
Yeah, I'm just saying to you that things are different now. And now I'm drinking a gallon. I'm going to fix my little hump.
Damn it.
And electrocute myself. I did the past life regression. Everything is changing.
Start there about the past life regression because after that, I need to talk about something.
Oh my God.
It's not about me. It's about just something on the news that I can't wait to talk about.
Oh, I'm so excited. Should we take a little pause?
Yes, let's do
a little pausey pause before we
let's
dive into, oh my Lord, the past life regression. I am so excited to talk about this. So excited. Broads. I don't know a single person in my life that doesn't suffer from anxiety.
That's sad.
Okay. It is sad, but it's true. Whether it's occasionally or nearly every day, it's something that is so prevalent. And I mean, I would say it's justified given the state of the world, the stress of life. You get the idea. I myself have suffered with anxiety since I was young. And let me tell you, when it's good, it's bad, and when it's bad, it's really bad. Okay. For the longest time, I've tried every different natural way to reduce my anxiety, but nothing really seemed to work until I started using Feels.
I love Feels. I just used it last night before I was going to bed. It's so premium CBD, and it's a better way to feel better. So if you struggle with stress, anxiety, chronic pain, or sleeplessness, you need to try Feels. And to get the effect of Feels CBD, just place a few drops under your tongue. Within minutes, you're going to start to feel the symptoms fade. Or if you want relief on the go, you could try out their newest product, which are the mints. Feels mints are CBD infused. They give you the same clear-headed relief as the CBD drops, but in a convenient and discreet package. And you get the bonus of minty fresh breath also.
Oh, they're so good. I've been loving the Feels mints. I literally keep them in my bag at all times because truly you just never know when the anxiety is going to hit. Then you can share it with the people. I love my Feels so much. I even ended up signing up for their Feels membership, which means my Feels is delivered to my door every month and I save money on every single order. It's amazing when it shows up every month.
Start feeling better with Feels. Become a member today by going to feels.com/chatty. You're going to get 40% off your first 3 months with free shipping. That's FEALS.com/chatty to become a member. And you're going to get 40% automatically taken off your first 3 months with free shipping. That's feels.com/chatty.
Getting birth control is just unnecessarily complicated, plain and simple. I mean, the process of getting it prescribed to you in the first place, the doctor's appointments, the switching between a few different types before finding out which one you like, the long lines, and the special trips to the pharmacy each month. The whole thing is annoying, okay? It's too complicated. But with the Pill Club, getting your birth control becomes the easiest thing on your to-do list. Get your birth control online, prescribed, and delivered for free.
The Pill Club carries over 12 FDA-approved brands and ships to all 50 states. And most brands of birth control are free with insurance or Medicaid. And otherwise, prices start as low as $7 a month without insurance. And the Pill Club delivers birth control right to your door for free in discreet packaging, along with some other self-care goodies. And if you ever want to switch brands or try something different, or even just get advice or ask questions, they have a licensed medical team that is just a text message away, ready to help. It's very convenient.
So convenient. I wish the Pill Club was around when I first started using birth control. The fact that it comes straight to your door in a discreet package, what a huge time save. If you're on birth control, do yourself a massive favor and start using the Pill Club today.
Right now, when you go to thepillclub.com/chatty, Pill Club is offering a $10 donation to bedsider.org for every Chatty Broads listener who becomes a patient. So that's really cool. Your donation helps low-income individuals get access to birth control through bedsider.org. So go to thepillclub.com/chatty. You're going to get your first birth control care package, and you can donate to help more people in need of affordable birth control. Remember, that's thepillclub.com/chatty. You got to use that link in order for the donation to be made.
All right.
Okay. Let me get my lip gloss on, ready for you to tell your past life regression story. First of all,
Girl,
who
get
are these
gorgeous.
people?
Get gorgeous for my past life regression.
I'm going to say this. I'm finally learning how to do my hair, and it's over for you hoes. It is over.
You're looking so glam today.
I know.
You've been really killing the looks.
I only have to
You're
get glam
turning out
once.
all the looks these days.
I'm only on camera once a week. So I'm like, let's invest that time. We can do a shitty bun the rest of the week, but I gotta look good one day a week. You know, you feel me?
I mean, this is now, these videos are truly forever.
Okay, speaking of which, watch on YouTube. Chatty Broads on YouTube, guys.
Yeah.
It's way more fun to watch than on audio.
You want to see my water jug, don't you?
Yeah, you do.
I'm telling you do.
Speaking of things you want to see, also Chatty Bros merch is coming out. I don't know when exactly, sometime in the next few weeks. And let me just say, it is going to be fire. Jess and I may or may not have designed it with some minor feedback from the bros.
Minor feedback, but they took that photo shoot into their own hands.
Oh, they did.
So we shall see.
They did. We didn't have much creative feedback for that. So that's going to be interesting. Anyway,
We shall see.
back to your past life regression.
So before I get into this, I want to say, disclaimer.
Yeah.
Broads, there's about to be a conversation about death. So, just a heads up. And then also, if you are interested in doing this, I would, not only have I heard, but also highly recommend talking to a professional before to make sure
You're a professional, a therapist,
if you have a psychiatrist, whatever, just someone before you dive into it.
not
just,
a past life regression professional.
No, someone else in a
They're gonna be like,
professional
"Yes,
space.
do
do it.
it.
You should do it.
Come to the
no,
other
but just to make
side.
sure you're in the right headspace for it, because it is a lot.
Okay.
It is a lot. So I just want to give that heads up before I dive into this. So
You're going to go to your doctor and you're going to be like, I just want to make sure I'm clear to do a past life regression. And he's going to be like, bitch, what the fuck are you what?
he's going to be like, bitch, this is a cardiologist. I'm a cardiologist.
Why'd you go to the cardiologist the other day?
Oh gosh, that's a whole thing. I've been having, Broads, full discllosure, having some health issues.
Are you dying?
I don't know what's going on. I've been having some heart issues. Yeah.
Okay.
I've been having health issues for a
Yeah, no, I
while,
know.
and I've been having these things, and you know how when I my migraine situation the other day when I almost passed out. I've been having when I
yes,
called for you.
Bekah!
I think they think what's been happening might have to do with an arrhythmia that I have.
Oh, did you know you had it?
No.
Well, I'm sorry.
It's okay. So going to the cardiologist, I'm supposed to start wearing a heart monitor here soon.
Oh, yeah.
Which I don't know how that's going to work with the mic feedback on the podcast. We'll see.
Well,
2022. But yeah, so I was at that cardiologist.
okay. What a week for the books. You got the past life regression, the cardiologist. Okay.
Well, you know what? Because of the past life regression, I am feeling clear and I am feeling wonderful.
Are you feeling better about death?
I feel so good, Bekah. Like, I feel like I like massively turned a page.
Because of the past life regression.
Yes, because of the past life regression.
Okay. Lay it all out there, because I've been really skeptical these days. I'm like, okay, let's hear about it.
And I was as well. So I'll tell you this. So I told you I had done the past life regression once in like a group, and it was led by two people who were friends of mine.
I was there.
Yes.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Okay. So you were there.
Yeah.
I had something.
Yeah.
Like I saw a few things. They weren't super clear, but I saw a few things. It was interesting because when I did it this time, it was in the same vein, but I got more details on
Was
it.
she like a little boy in a cottage or some shit?
Well, yes, similar. It was similar like that. But I think there were things that were going on in my mind that were like getting crossed a little bit.
Yeah. And also I should clarify, the skepticism isn't like, it's not that I think it's fake. I'm just like, I guess my skepticism is sort of like, you can reach in meditative states, like you can go to some pretty weird places.
1,000%.
Which I guess that is the whole thing. So
this is then how it got broken down for me. So I had done that.
Yeah.
You'd been there. It had been a fine experience. But then I tried another group one somewhat recently because I was a little nervous. I don't know. I was nervous about doing it one-on-one. I'm like, what if this feels frightening?
It's also long. Did you say it was like 3 hours?
Mine was 3.5 hours.
Yeah, that's
session.
like really
It went
long.
by like that. Like it felt like 5 minutes. It was wild. I also have like the audio from it, so I listened back and heard myself.
You're like, how much turn on? Like, you're speaking in tongues. Like,
is that Satan coming through? It's unclear. But yeah, so I did another group one, and I did not go well. Like, I'll just be honest with you.
When was that?
It was a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
I tried it, and it was just, I couldn't get there at all. I'm like, I was maybe too distracted. Maybe the person who was leading it just wasn't for me, the group situation. But I'm like, I want to give this a try.
Okay.
So I ended up finding this woman, Marianne, shout out. I'll put her info in the notes if anyone wants to book a session with her. She's amazing. But I specifically liked her because I read on her website that she had come from the evangelical community initially. And so
she's like, then a demon possessed me. And
now I do past life regression and I want to pass it on to you. But yeah,
that's cool.
So she has like, she understands that trauma.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I feel safe having a conversation with this person. And so in our session, for like the first hour, she just had a really open conversation with me. So I told her like the reasons why I'm trying this. I'm like, one of them is I have a radical fear of death. Like just the idea of like what happens after that I really want to work on. Also, I'm like, my constant raging anxiety. I'm like, I don't know how to, like, where it's coming from. I feel like there's a source somewhere. And then also the other thing I really wanted to tap into is I'm like, I have this unbelievably intense fear of letting people down and failing. So I'm like, listen, like I make mistakes every single day. I'm a human being. Right. But like the idea of making those mistakes, I'm like, it scares me. So like, it weighs on me constantly. And I'm just like, I just kind of want to push through that and be able to be like, I need to grow. It's okay when you make mistakes. Growth is what's important. Anywho, so she then started to ask me like specific questions about like on a scale of 1 to 10, is it difficult for you to confront people? Is it, you know, just walking through all these interesting questions. And she was just wonderful, just a very calm presence. And so then she had me lay down, you know, and started to like take me and I got there quick. I got there quick. Now I will say this. I think what I appreciated about her is that she really explained what I would probably be, like how it would feel. She's like, you're probably not going to like black out hypnotized and then see these visions. She's like, you're going to have a flash, like a picture, like when you have a memory of something. She's like, and it's going to come to you right away. And you're probably going to think, I'm creating that in my mind because I'm sitting here trying to think of something. She's like, it's not. It's just a flash. What I also loved about her is she's like, you don't have to believe in past life regression to do this. She's like, I don't even know if this is, she's like, we might just all be dreaming all the time. She's like, what might come to you is a dream you might have had. She's like, but that dream might have affected you at some place in your mind and created some sort of trauma or something, because dreams feel real sometimes.
Right. Yeah.
She's like, we're getting, but we're gonna dig that up.
And ultimately it's coming from your subconscious, right? Or like your unconscious or whatever the people would say. So there's something there. You're creating images, even if it's not your past life, for a reason.
Exactly. So, but my brain is like, the first time that I remember doing it, I right away saw an image and I go, I'm just making this up.
Yeah. And even, but that's the thing, like, even if you are just making it up, still, now that you're saying that, it's like, no, but that it has insight into like where you're coming from. Yes.
And that's why I really appreciated her conversation before. She explained it, and that had never been explained to me before. Totally. So I would kind of lay there before and be like, okay, I guess I'm seeing this thing. And then they'd be like, you know, can you talk to the person? And I'm like, I don't know. It's like a photo in my brain. It's not interactive.
Right.
But when she explained it to me like a memory, I'm like, oh, if I think about, let's just say you and I, we went to a comedy show a couple weeks ago, and I think about, oh, when Kevin Hart came on stage, it's not clear, but I can see it.
And yeah, you have like flashes of like how a person responded, how like, yeah,
you're not like all of a sudden in it, and I'm not like back there and interacting with you.
In that particular, I remember you turning to be like, oh my God. Yeah. And like, you know, things like that. Yes. But I don't remember the whole set or anything like that.
Exactly. So I think in my brain before, I had this image that like I'd get hypnotized and then I'd be like, you know, interacting again. And it's like, no, that makes sense. It's flashes of like almost what feels like a memory.
Okay.
And so I saw it right away. And I won't get really heavy into the first one because it is traumatizing. It was gnarly.
Give us just like what is surrounding like what kind of stuff?
It was similar to what I had initially had, where I was like, oh, I'm this boy in this cabin. Where it got crossed is it was like, no, I was like this 15-year-old girl. And it was that same setting. It felt very like 1400s-ish, thatched, small, like little township. And I took care of my mother and my baby sister. And I was messing around with a boy somewhere. And while that happened, people came and took the people from my very small town. And I felt responsible because I used to take care of my mother and my little sister, and I wasn't there. And I end up passing away soon afterwards, never knowing if my mother and my sister are okay, and then also putting the blame on myself. At the end of this, I pass away, and I was seeing it happening. And she then took me where she's like, watch where your spirit goes and like step into the light. I'm going to start crying. It was the biggest release I have ever felt of my fear.
Whoa.
Yeah. And it's like, I can't even, it's one of those things where it's like, I couldn't put into words. But what was amazing was then she was able to talk to me afterwards, where it's like, maybe this is where so much of your deep fear comes from, your constant anxiety, because it's like, what's around the corner? And then how it ended, there's this like, I let people down, I failed. And there's that constant feeling of like, I'm going to fail people. And I, in my, whatever this was, passed away before I had any resolution. So it was like that full anxiety like state the entire time. So that was intense. But what I loved the most was she had me go into the light. So then after that, she has me go back to the meditative state I was in. And she's like, let's see if we can get you to another one. And then I went to another one. And that is what was like game changing to me. So the first one was like really healing, where I felt like I walked through this like very traumatic situation that explained a lot to me.
Yeah.
Even to the weird neurotic thing of like, where I have this massive fear of taking my contacts or glasses off at night when I sleep, because I'm like, there's going to be a disaster. So I sleep with my glasses on. Second life that I went into, I saw that I was a man, and what I was seeing images of was I was like in my like late 40s, early 50s. And the second I got there, in the difference between the one where it was like pure anxiety and like trauma, and then when I got to like this specific life, it was joy. And it's crazy to re-listen. The second I like started to hone in, I was sobbing.
Whoa.
But like with love. Like it wasn't like sobbing where I was upset. I was like, I'm so happy. Like I'm so happy as this person. And in this, it's such a trip, because it just felt so real. It was me and my sister, and she was older than me. And I knew, because of flashes, that it was like, Europe, late 1800s energy. And I knew that like, that was the vibe. And like, I could tell by like what was around. And our parents, super conservative, hardworking. I wanted to paint. My sister wanted to sing, and they were like, absolutely hell no. Like that.
So wait, so you're going back then, like, okay. You said that he's in his late 40s. So then are you also revisiting childhood as this person?
Yes.
Or is this something you just know?
Okay, so when I first saw him, it was that, like, I saw him at that age, and my sister and I were talking.
Okay.
And then I was like having then flashes of childhood. Okay. So I was then kind of skipping around, and I was able to see. With the other one, I could not do that. Okay. It was literally just
what happened,
what that exact day was. Okay. That was really traumatizing, and I couldn't go anywhere else. Okay. When I then stepped into this one, I was kind of able to like move around. And I don't know if maybe I was loose because I had been doing it for a few hours at this point. But so then I knew, I'm like, our parents super conservative. I wanted to paint. She wanted to sing. They said, no, that's also stuff that is like of the devil. That was frivolous and not okay. And they kicked us out. And so it was me and my sister. And she was the one who was like always pushing me to do what I loved. And I was seeing all these flashes of just like us in like this community of people. And there wasn't support from the parents. They didn't want anything to do with us anymore. But in it, it's like I chose, and it wasn't like, oh my gosh, rich. It was just in this like life, I chose to do exactly what brought me joy, even though I was rejected by my family. And in it, my sister and I never found any romantic relationship, which was interesting. And it was just the two of us. So there wasn't romance. The parents weren't like part of it. But we did what we knew we wanted to do. And it brought so much joy. And it was like, I was so overwhelmed by it. Whoa. So overwhelmed by like this idea of like feeling all this love in fulfillment of what I felt like I was supposed to do.
Oh, that's cool.
And not worrying about what other people thought.
Yeah.
And then having this community of friends around who also participated in it. And that one got real emotional for me because, which is weird, when the psychics had said Ember is my sister, the second I was in that space, and when the psychic said that, by the way, I pictured me being this girl and Ember being my sister, not me being this like 50-something-year-old man with an older sister. The second I was there, Marianne asked me, she's like, does anyone feel familiar here? Because she had asked me in the last one with my traumatic one. She's like, do you know any of these people? Do they feel familiar like now to you? Do you know them now? And I'm like, no, there's no connection. Whoa. And then as soon as I was there as this man with my sister, I'm like, that is Ember. Whoa. And I was bawling because she was this bright, she's singing and she's like pushing, and she had just had this like, she was so
veracity,
so good too. That was like so good. And I was so overwhelmed. And then I passed away, and it was like of old age. I was laying in my bed and it was peaceful. And I was sad because she had passed away before me. And I remember feeling that way like in this process. But then when she said, okay, step into the light, do you see anyone? And I'm like, I see my parents. She's like, are they saying anything to you? And I'm like, they're saying that they're proud of me. Whoa. And it was just a sob fest. It was a sob fest. And so she told me afterwards, I felt electric after. I was just like on one.
You weren't tired?
No, I felt electric. Whoa. But then she told me, she's like,
she's
like, the next few days are probably going to be really hard.
Yeah.
And they were. Wow. So for like 3-4 days afterwards, I was really anxious. I felt really low. She's like, it's like the ego fighting a lot of things that were needing to be cleared. And she's like, but you're going to feel okay. She's like, I promise you. And I literally yesterday woke up and I was like,
I'm okay.
I felt so good. I have this vision in my head of this man. Who knows if we have past lives and if this person I was, or if this is just some vision. But I keep thinking about this man where I'm like, she's like, you need to learn from him. Learn from the fact that like you live in so much fear of being rejected. And he
had the ultimate rejection.
He had the ultimate rejection, fully cut off. And then what she brought up too is because, oh my God,
I can't wait to book my session.
I'm so excited for you. And then what she said too to me is she said, listen, like, you know, I had something similar happen with my family a few years ago, you know, when I moved away from the church, and Evan and I had something similar, and it was a lot easier for me. Even though I was so scared, it was a lot easier for me to remove myself than it was for him. Yeah. And she's like, maybe it's because you've done it before. And so it comes maybe a little easier, even though it is tough. She's like, so you got to learn from him.
Is he going to do it?
Oh, Evan's going to do it. Yes. I'm so excited. But it was so powerful. And it sounds like, it's one of those things like when you're explaining it, it sounds so weird to try to explain because it felt so real. And I was like, I said, just sob. And I'm like, I'm learning so much from him because he is just this man that I once was. Like he, you know, is doing what he loves to do and he knows he should do. And he's getting so much joy from it and not living in fear. And I'm like, Jessica, stop living in fear. And then you're pulling these cards for me. No.
Okay, first of all, also, now I do want, if you ever actually want to, I want you to do the bufo because your description of seeing the light sounds so much like my friend's description of doing the bufo and their description of like, just like smoking this toad venom, like kind of like sort of passing out, but this, and then coming to like immediately, like time passed super quick, even though it was like 20 minutes, it felt like a second. And this feeling of like, the way they described it was soul returning to source. And then coming back and being like recharged by returning to source. But also their experience was like for the 3 days after, Danny was describing like being in like Whole Foods or something and being like kind of like time was a little warped and be kind of disoriented and little panicked for a second and being like, wait, whoa, like, and kind of like a little off.
Yeah, no, it's so interesting. Yeah. Cause that's what, when I was doing that, it's what it felt like.
Yeah.
And I've been off for a few days.
Yeah.
Like I've been in a kind of a weird space.
Yeah.
Like have not been able to go. I like literally for a few days, I could not open Instagram.
Yeah.
It was I'm like, it's too much.
Yeah.
Like it was just, I'm like, I'm trying to just
synthesize,
hone in and figure out what's going on and process all this stuff. And now it just feels, I feel very recharged and I feel very open.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like I don't feel scared like I did before, which is crazy. And I'm like, oh my God.
Whoa.
This is, I mean, whatever it was. And that's why I really loved Marianne. Because she's like, whatever, what you believe in, you don't have to make it anything. This doesn't have to be this big, like, this was my past life. She's like, but there's something in your psyche that needs to heal.
Yeah.
And let's figure out, let's walk through that and help heal that.
I love that.
And it was beautiful. And then re-listening to it again was really healing.
Whoa.
When I heard myself talking, because I don't remember saying those certain things, even though I was like, and then hearing myself like weep through things, because it didn't ever feel scary.
Yeah.
It just felt, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I like then re-listening to it, hearing myself weep through certain parts, listening to the part when I have this discovery of like, oh my God, it's Ember. And then I was re-listening to it sobbing again.
Whoa.
Just, yeah.
Whoa.
So.
Okay, wait, let's take a break because then I wanted, let's do a quick ad break. And then I also want to say something about corresponding to this. So I want to keep talking. I want to keep talking about it. Speaking of mental health, we're talking all about this past life regression. This is helping with my mental health. Hot take coming your way, but I don't think there's a person on this planet who has perfect mental health all the time. Okay. I mean, we live in the age of social media. We've all just survived a 3-year pandemic, the world right now. And by God, that affects everyone in some way. And while there is no one solution to mental health, there are tons of tools available to help. We love Talkspace, the online therapy platform that wants to help you feel your best despite what is going on in the world around us. Yep. When you sign up for Talkspace, you're going to get unlimited access to a licensed therapist and you can start chatting right away. And one of the greatest things about Talkspace is how convenient it is for everyone. And instead of a therapist squeezing you into their schedule, Talkspace easily fits into yours. You have access to 24/7 messaging so you can get things off your chest at all hours of the day, which, let's be real, is often quite necessary. And you can even set up video sessions with your therapist when you feel ready.
I cannot recommend therapy enough to anyone that will listen. Honestly, for so long, I was resistant because I thought therapy was only for people with these certain big issues to work on. But no, I can't believe how helpful it's been for me, even just to have someone to listen to me talk through decisions or lend an unbiased ear when I need to talk about anything going on in my life, really. It's been truly amazing.
Forget one size fits all. Get the one size fits one support you need with Talkspace. Sign up today at Talkspace.com and get $100 off your first month with promo code Chatty. That's $100 off your first month at Talkspace.com, promo code Chatty.
So I'll be real with you, broads. I am so guilty of aspirational grocery shopping. Like the Jess who goes to the grocery store is somehow not the same Jess that eats the groceries during the week. Grocery store Jess buys so much fruit and veggies, but when it comes down to it, I just cannot eat enough fruits and veggies on a daily basis, okay? But one simple way I found to help me get them all in is by eating Daily Harvest.
Oh my gosh.
Daily Harvest is the best.
Guys, it's a 10 out of 10 win, especially with kids too. Yes. Daily Harvest is the easy way to make sure you're getting enough of the good stuff. They deliver delicious food that's all built on organic fruits and vegetables, and it comes right to your door. I keep my freezer fully stocked with Daily Harvest options. They stay perfectly fresh in there until you're ready to eat them. So if you're in a rush and you don't have time to cook, or if you need a healthy snack on the go that can come come with you to your next meeting. Whatever the situation is, Daily Harvest has you covered. They've got options for every time of day, like smoothies for breakfast, harvest bowls for lunch, flatbreads for dinner, and they even have plant-based ice cream flavors for dessert, which are amazing, by the way. And I think they're only sweetened with like maple syrup.
Yes, honestly, every single thing I've had from Daily Harvest has been a 10 out of 10. Their smoothies are my go-to almost every day, especially in the summer. And Ember loves them too, which I feel good about because it's like sneaking in extra fruits and veggies into her meals and she doesn't even notice because they taste so good.
Daily Harvest makes it easy to feel good about what I'm doing for myself and also the planet. So go to dailyharvest.com/chatty to get up to $40 off your first box. That's dailyharvest.com/chatty for up to $40 off your first box. That's dailyharvest.com/chatty. So, okay, two things. One, I've just told you, I think you should try brain spotting therapy because that's what I'm doing. It's really similar.
Whenever you've talked about it, I'm like, I feel like I need to try that.
I think you should really do it because also what's cool about brain spotting is you're not talking. You kind of are going into that like meditative trance-like state. And it's been so incredible for me for attacking like limiting beliefs. Like, so not just like, I mean, you could work on specific things for trauma, like traumatic events, but you can also do more like whole concepts. So like beliefs you have about yourself. So like one of the highest ranking beliefs I had about myself was I'm not good enough. They do this intake form with all these different like beliefs about yourself. One of the highest one for me was I'm not good enough. And me and all my siblings are like off the charts with that. But so you can work on those kind of things. You can work on even like we just talked about stuff like if I feel like triggered when someone is angry at me, like you could just target that specific feeling and you can disarm it.
I'm gonna start doing it.
Yeah, you should. My therapist has some people that she could recommend that are virtual. Oh no, she said up in LA, and she said they do virtual. But I'm like, oh, you're up in LA, so
I'd love to.
My therapist is great, but yeah, it like actually works. Like I don't think I've talked about this on the podcast, but like because of those kind of limiting beliefs, I often it's like maybe you wouldn't see it on the outside, but for me, I don't go for a lot of things or I don't finish a lot of things because of like this fear, that's just limiting beliefs holding me back. And it's so interesting. Like this is kind of a random example, but like I was making these mushrooms that I'm making and I did like the chicken wire forms.
Cute.
Yeah, still working on them. They're going great. But I made these chicken wire forms and then a few days later, like was paper macheing them. And then I was talking on the phone with my sister and I was like, I'm so proud of myself. Like this is the first project I've ever worked on like this that was outside of like a school assignment or like some sort of project. Like I am like with artistic projects and stuff like that, like I am not very self-driven. I need the structure of like a classroom, which is why I take classes like nonstop, because I need like the exterior motivation and like the kind of the promise of validation from other sources in order to do it. And my sister was like, I'm not gonna lie to you. When I saw you first post the chicken wire forms, she was like, oh, those are so cool. They're probably going to end up in the corner of your living room for like 4 months until you finally throw them away because you don't do anything with them. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I normally do. And so I was like, what has changed? Like, why am I able to like work on things and finish things, even just like household chores? And I had chalked it up to like ADHD, but now like doing this brain spotting stuff, I'm like, wait, I'm breaking down these limiting beliefs that like, I'm not good enough. I never finish anything. I'm lazy. Like these are all things that are in my brain that are stopping me. Right. And now that I'm working through them, I feel the freedom to be like, that's fine. I'll work on it for like 30 minutes tomorrow. And
that's so cool. And such like a testament to when you work on your mental health. Yeah. That it's like, you just getting to a point where you're able to recognize that then allows you to move forward. That's wild.
Yeah, and I didn't feel like I would have, I really don't feel like I would have gotten there with just talk therapy alone, because it's hard to like get to the heart of that. Like, yeah, you could talk through why you feel that way, like, oh, because my parents said this and this, which is like, cool, the root, but then what? Then you're just like, cool, I'm anxious and self-loathing because someone did this to me. How does that help me now?
Right. No, I think, like I love talk therapy so much, and it's been it changed my life. And so I'm like, I recommend it to everyone. But I do think there is sometimes a very untapped section of mental health that is things like that aren't just talk.
Yeah.
That involve more cognitive, like, it's powerful stuff.
Yeah. So that's been really cool. So I think you'd really like that.
I'm going to try that.
Yeah.
I'm going to try it. I think that sounds like something I think that would be so helpful, because just in this past life regression situation, and I'm sure I explained it terribly, because like I said, it was so much of it was like this,
No, I don't think you explained it terribly.
Feeling.
Yeah.
But even in that, like just having that alone had me turn a corner, where I was able to realize things about myself. I came face to face with that. I go, oh, you are this way. That is a fear for you.
Yeah.
What would have happened if you would have been there? Nothing would have changed.
Right.
You put all this shit on yourself all the time.
Right.
And then also, whether this be from like past lives or current, I think in the religious household I grew up in, you as well, that there was so much shame and sinfulness associated with enjoyment, just pure enjoyment.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, there's so many things in front of us that I'm not taking advantage of enjoying, like my child. Like, instead of just in this moment of like, okay, you need to work on this with her, parenting. It's like, you know what being a great parent might look like is enjoying
having fun
moments with her. Yeah, and soaking that in. And it's not wrong to just sit and say fuck it and miss the emails and miss the calls and just sit and enjoy time with my kid.
That's always when I feel the best. I'm
right?
Like, oh, yeah.
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 Because we weren't meant
feeding
to
your soul.
And we weren't meant to be firing off on all cylinders like this.
Yeah. Easier said than done.
And so did I ignore and miss a lot of fucking emails the past few days? I did. I'm in that headspace now. Yeah. All of a sudden, you're gonna find the podcast is gonna be Bekah coming in every single week, being like, "Okay, well, Jess has been ignoring all of the calls and all of the work emails, and she's not showing up for the podcast."
That's what we're hiring someone for. As long as you show up, baby, we're gonna get it done. No, dude. So that's what I do on like Thursdays and Fridays are like my days with the kids, and yeah, like I'll just be like, whatever, I'll answer everyone on the weekend. And then what's great too is when you answer people on like Friday night or Saturday, they usually don't get back to you till Monday. Then you get to relax for another 2 days. We have a lucky career that we're in where we can do that kind of thing. Let's be real.
Yeah, I'm not saying stop answering your boss's text messages. No. I think it's just I think specifically with ours is that it's it can be a 7 day a week, because there's always the potential for it there.
That's what Gray is like as a business owner. He's like, I will watch him sometimes sit on the couch and refresh his email. And I'm like, stop.
Yeah.
You know? But even if you have a 9 to 5, even if you're a stay-at-home mom, I think there is still something to be said about like saying like, fuck it, I'm not going to do the dishes right now. Or like, no, actually it is after hours. And yes, I could get ahead on this, but I'm not going to. I am going to put the phone away and just be present and just go sit on the front porch and or play a board game.
Yeah.
And just
enjoy.
Yeah.
Stare at the sky.
Totally.
I laid in our front yard yesterday and just stared at the sky for like 45 minutes. And I was like, why have I not done this ever?
This is what's really interesting. I've been breaking down, like, I was talking to a friend about this the other day because, like, it's really interesting the kind of moralistic values that you, like, aren't raised with. I think I was telling you this, like, my, I don't like wasting time. That really freaks me out. However, the values that were plugged into me was that certain things aren't wasting time, such as spending time outside. So it's really interesting. If I'm like lounging on the couch watching TV, I'm like, waste of time. I should not be doing this. But if I'm laying on the grass with my kids in the backyard, that value is plugged into me. That value is plugged into me of like time with family, time outdoors. Those are both good things. So then I'm like, then I feel, but it's interesting when you start to break that down. Like,
yeah, what exactly, like in what way were you raised? I know for myself, it was just tasks.
Yeah.
Anything aside from tasks was a waste. Children, a waste.
Yeah.
Family, a waste. Romance, a waste. Like it was all a waste. It was all task.
Yeah.
And the irony is myself, my family, we don't get shit done. because we're all
You're the people looking busy,
we're
running
all
in 50
running
different
around
directions.
doing nothing.
That's a real thing.
We're doing nothing.
Busy.
Busy. It's always like, oh, it's when you talk to people and they're like, oh, I'm just so exhausted. And it's like they haven't been doing.
Yeah.
That's how it is. I'm like, and we're all of us are always tired. And we're giving ourselves extra things to do that are nonsense. Because there's this feeling of I have to have my blood pressure elevated to a certain level all day or else I wasted the day. So I'll be doing jack shit, but I have to be like, or else I'm a waste.
No, you're not like this at all. But do people in your family have a martyr complex? Where it's like, but I was working on this for you. And it's like, bitch, no one asked you to work on this shit.
Hello, mother. Mom, is that you?
I'm dead. That is...
And I appreciate you saying, it's very sweet of you to say that I don't have that. But that's been a work. That's been a big thing in my life that I had to really break down in therapy because I used to do that shit with Evan all the time.
Oh, it's intolerable.
It's terrible. And I would hear myself saying it and I'd be like, stop. You're fucking putting this shit on someone who didn't ask for it.
Yeah.
He didn't ask for you to do this stuff, and now you're making him feel bad for like all the time you put into such and such.
I made this whole birthday weekend for you. I didn't ask you to do this birthday weekend for me. Yeah,
I know.
That
I
was
have
a
to
direct
talk.
example from a friend of mine.
You're like, that's specific. I had to talk to with my mom about it the other day, where I was like, Mom, she was unloading all these things she's processing, and she's like, well, and I can't do this in my life that I want to do because I have to do this for you and be there in this way and this way and this way for you and your sister. And I grabbed her hand and I said, Mom, I want you to do whatever you want to do.
Yeah. I'm
like, don't put the worry about putting aside whatever, preparing this and this for me and my sister. We're gonna be okay. I'm like, let me worry about my sister. Yeah. I'm like, I'll take care of her.
Yeah.
You need to go live your life.
Yeah.
And I want you to have fun. And I want you to do what you want to do. And I don't want you to put that burden on yourself. And I don't want you to put that burden on me because I'm not asking.
I think it's also an excuse because people are afraid to live their lives.
Yeah, of course.
So if you could create a bunch of tasks, then you're always too busy to do the things you really want to that are so scary.
I think you nailed that. You nailed that because I think specifically with my family, I know we love to avoid our feelings and the truth of like, it's not even necessarily like trying something new. It's literally coming face to face with like how you truly feel. The idea of, oh, that person rejected me.
Oh, yeah.
And I won't sit with that. We won't. Now, the weird part is that I love sitting in my feelings and everyone else in my family runs from them. But then I do that in like kind of an opposite way where I'll sit in it too long and then not go out into reality. But yeah, run around like crazy just to avoid really, really acknowledging that like, yeah, it really hurt when that person rejected me and that hurt my pride, or it really hurt when,
or maybe I'll fail if I try to do this thing that I've always wanted to do. And then I'm going to feel like a piece of shit, which is what I believe I truly am at the end of the day.
Evan will literally go batshit crazy watching my mother when we'll stay with her on the weekend sometimes, because she will be like, I got to go grocery shopping. So she'll drive to the grocery store and then come back and then go, I have to go to the pharmacy to get medicine. And she'll have like 4 errands that all could have been done
half the time.
Actually, also at the same place.
Yeah, right.
She goes to 4 different stores, comes home, drops it off,
to fill time,
goes back up to fill time.
Yeah,
because there's hurt.
Yeah,
and there's avoidance.
Yeah,
and so I sit on her and I make her stay and I say, "Hold me."
Yeah,
hold me like a baby.
Hug me. Hold me.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's rough. Oh my God! So then I pulled this card for Jess last night. This was so funny. I was like, I have these animal spirit card, whatever the fuck they're called, oracle cards.
Oracles.
I don't fucking know. One of my friends got me for me.
Is that
one of my friends got for me. Yours was, I think yours was a sea star.
A sea star.
Wait, let's see. Did I send it to? Yeah, I did.
Yes, you did.
if it, and I texted to Jess and I was like, wow, the universe is really beating you over the head with this. Keywords: freedom, chance, fear. Life itself cannot give you, this is the quote, the Chinese proverb that came along with it. Life itself cannot give you joy unless you really will it. Life just gives you time and space. It's up to you to fill it. You could either fill it with joy or meaningless tasks to the pharmacy.
And when you sent that to me, I immediately thought about the second life I went into.
Wow.
And I'm like, be like him. Take a note.
It says, time for you to take a chance, leap of faith. You've been lacking in energy and motivation. It could be out of fear, or it could have been that you're caught up with a bit of laziness and have beached yourself. It can be quite scary to change, and although you may feel stuck, you're never stuck. You have free will to change the course of where you want your life to go. Free yourself from the past and allow yourself to feel again. Whoa, even your past lives. Free yourself from your past lives. You might be
and you know how we're making changes? With a gallon of water, baby.
When you begin to take a chance on one thing, you'll find it easier and easier to continue doing that in every part of your life, which will only draw you closer and closer to your ultimate success. You won't know unless you take a chance.
Take a chance.
Da, 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 da.
Okay, so two things.
What?
One, you said that you were excited because you wanted to talk about something that's
I
in
just
the
wanted,
news.
yeah, okay.
And then I also want to ask you about the boys on Chatty Bros talking about how your dad intimidates them.
Oh my God. Okay, let's talk about that, because all I fucking wanted to talk about, which we could talk about in another episode, is Sherri Papini about the... Okay, this is so funny, because we were talking about it on my birthday. Who was the girl you guys were actually talking about who got kidnapped and kidnapped and disappeared?
Oh, we were talking about Elizabeth Smart
but
ages ago.
But when you guys were talking about... This was on my birthday party weekend. When you guys were talking about Elizabeth Smart, for some reason, I thought you were talking about Sherri Papini. So then I started going, but then I started going off about this girl. I'm like, I don't remember this bitch's name, but she went missing in Northern California. And I swear to God, she was faking the whole thing.
Yeah.
2 days later, after I said that, and that was from like 2016.
Yeah, you were, I was confused because we
guys
had
were
been talking about Elizabeth
Smart.
Smart, but then you were like telling me, you're like, this racist woman was saying these horrible things, da 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 da. And then and
I was
you
like, and she was faking it. And then, a lot of people were speculating that she was faking it. But then like 2 days later, it was crazy because this news thing came out and it turns out that she was faking it. And she had been with a boyfriend for 3 weeks, an ex-boyfriend who she had clearly had a fling with. So she had 2 little boys, she had a husband. And the whole story was that she went on a jog. And then she didn't come home, didn't pick up the boys for school. Then her husband used the iPhone tracker and found like her iPhone and headphones like just on the side of the road where she went jogging, and she was gone.
And she was just with
hooking
up with some guy.
Yeah, get this. When they found her, she was in a parking lot, like running back and forth, and had branded herself. Said that the kidnappers branded her.
What?
So she staged all of this fucking Gone Girl shit, and it was just so typical. Like, she's this beautiful blonde woman. Everyone's like, she's the perfect mother. She's the perfect community member. What's that church up there? Is it Bethel?
Oh yeah, I think so.
They did like this whole fundraiser. They offered like, it was so weird. The church offered like $100,000 or something to anyone who like found her, whatever. Yeah, this bitch was with her ex-boyfriend.
I mean, to me,
it's the commitment for me.
It's the, but I'm also just like, maybe just like talk to your husband about maybe an open relationship or something.
Maybe you just
if you
leave your husband.
Yeah.
Maybe
or a divorce.
Or maybe just like have an affair like a normal shitty person and just like meet him at a hotel on Tuesday afternoons while your kids are at school.
Yeah.
You gotta go disappear for 3 weeks and brand yourself and put out a whole manhunt? Waste everyone's fucking time?
Yeah, that's the thing too. And then involve fucking racist bullshit into it.
Well, that was the interesting thing.
Yeah, bringing in full-blown racism.
She didn't actually like, there was nothing actually overtly racist. She just said that there was these 2 Mexican women who kidnapped her. But then what was weird is then someone found, this was like when the internet sleuths were like,
the detectives.
So they found
a
blog post that she had written in like high school on some weird white supremacist site that had her same name, and it was going off about these like Hispanic women Hispanic girls at her school, and like saying this weird Aryan nation shit. And so then people were like, wait, Sherri Papini had written this like back on 2008 on this forum, this like white nationalist forum, and now she's saying that like these 2 Mexican women kidnapped her, like, and
dude.
And it was all made up.
The armchair detectives are truly unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, they're terrifying.
In my next life, I want to come back as an armchair detective. Can you imagine cracking a case? Can you imagine the feeling of like
we did it.
Of knowing that like you just, you solved something, you saved someone, because you are so brilliant that you can find all the research and you can find where that refrigerator was from and locate it. I mean, unbelievable.
But those
truly.
are the same kind of people. Anyway, we don't got to go down that rabbit hole. I don't think you want to come back as an armchair detective.
I'm just saying,
but good on them, I guess.
I can just imagine myself with like a gigantic leather chair and like just spinning it with a pipe and my glasses every night. Like I put my kids to bed and I'm like, it's time for business, baby.
I love sleuths.
I love sleuths.
I love sleuthing too. I'm not a bad internet detective.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not.
No, you're actually incredible. In fact, when we were away a few days ago, I was telling you about my brother-in-law who is getting married. And let me tell you something, broads. Bekah goes, oh my God. Bekah goes, she's just quietly next to me, goes, what's his name? And I'm like, his name's Brennan. In 1 minute, Bekah says, oh, I absolutely love the venue that they're going to get married at. And I'm like, what?
And I wasn't trying to be funny. I was just like, I like this.
Scrolling, and somehow she looked his name up online and found their like registry or something.
It wasn't hard. They have a website for their wedding.
I didn't even know where. I didn't know they had a website for their wedding. I didn't even know where they were having their wedding. And she was showing me the venue.
Dude, the way that I had this one professor that I was obsessed with. Like I was obsessed with her. I took like 4 classes with her.
Ugh, I love.
And I wanted to find her social media. The lengths that I went to find her Instagram were ungodly.
You're like, but I love you.
They weren't with her like normal last name. Like I was like, oh my God. Like I was like looking up her events that she had done poetry readings at like 5 years before, and then was looking at who had liked the post, and then was able to find like a person's name that I recognized who I knew she had done like work with in the past. And then I scrolled through their post to find when she posted about doing a project with her, and then I found her Instagram, friended her, requested her,
and you're like, I found you. Hi, remember me?
I found you, Latia.
I took your glasses. I love you. Oh my God, when you have those moments where you're just like laying in bed,
it's not okay,
and all of a sudden like you check the clock and it's been an hour and you're like, how did I get here?
I know.
How did I get on Instagram, look at my ex-boyfriend, see his new girlfriend, look at her brother just got married, and I'm somehow on his new wife's like 4 levels down looking at her TikTok. How did we get here?
Fascinating. I was just telling this to someone the other day, how like when I lived in Fresno, I used to like get so involved with these like people I didn't know, and I would be following like them, their girlfriend, like their baby mama, like all on Facebook, where it was like just the most like some people are characters. Like I remember there was this white guy who would do the worst, like most infected looking tattoos I've ever seen out of his garage. And I would just spend hours just like going through like his tagged photos and he was just the kind of guy, like he had been on Maury once, and like it was just a whole thing. He would like do tattoos out of his garage, and then he'd also
Maury
be like,
because of his tattoos.
No, it was so funny. He was on Maury, and like his friend,
I don't know what I was expecting you to say.
No, his brother pretended that he was his friend. It was like they staged this whole thing.
Yeah.
But then like it was like he would be advertising his tattoos, and then he would be like, oh, I got these pit bull puppies for sale. Then he'd be like, oh, it was just that vibe. And then he'd be like going off on like his ex-girlfriend, just like, and then he'd be like, I'm sorry guys, it was
you're just fully invested.
I was so invested. So anyway, yeah.
I definitely have had that with a few people where like I followed someone and then I went down 3 rabbit holes.
You don't know them. Like,
and then all of a sudden I find this one person that I keep going back to the well, that I'm like, I keep looking them up and I won't follow them because I'm like, that would be weird. But I just keep going back. I'm like, I gotta see this person's stories. They are wild. They are wild, and I just gotta keep going back. What a gift.
Totally. So intimidating dads, though.
Okay.
That had me dying. So on Chatty Bros.
On Chatty Bros, they were talking about the hometown dates for Clayton's season, which that's literally all I've been seeing online.
I know. It's made me almost watch the Women Tell All.
I haven't watched anything, and I'm like, do I have to watch these last 2 episodes? This looks insane. I was listening to Evan, like, could hear him in the other room watching the episodes going, oh my God.
The girls are vicious.
He's like, it was terrible.
Yeah, it's
like everyone's being terrible, but now apparently Clayton's doing this horrible I'm seeing everyone posting like saying we asked the producers to show us Clayton's real personality and now we're asking for you to take it back.
Oh my God. Should we try to watch the last couple episodes and try to get like a last minute live show in like 2 weeks or something?
Yeah. I'd be down.
Let's try to do it.
Let's see if
we can break it up. We gotta hit up Cass and be like, is the studio open in like a week?
And you know what's kind of fun? What I think we should do too is like only watch from the Women Tell All and the final like 2 episodes.
Agreed.
So we have no context of like who he was closer to, what woman he was falling more in love with. Fully no context going off.
We can have the guys there too. That way they could kind of like explain.
Yeah,
that'll
sure.
Be kind of a shit
like,
show.
help me, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a complete shit show, but I'm super down.
We can make it happen. Let's do it.
I need to watch it now. Yeah. I'm like, the internet is too abuzz, and I was seeing everyone saying, finally, the most dramatic season ever. I'm like, oh my God, Clayton's? I also just saw
next week is the last episodes, right?
Yes. Next week is the last. Great.
So we've got time to set up our live show and watch.
A week and a half.
Yes.
Clayton just broke 200,000 followers. The lead, my guy.
200?
That's it for the lead of the show. I'm like, has it ever been that low ever? No way. And God knows he might have lost followers apparently after last night's episode. I don't know what happened.
What? Yeah, 206,000. He's getting like, this is obnoxious to go over, but like, yeah, he's getting like 18,000 likes.
And it's like, obviously that's a ton. 200,000 followers is a ton. That's way more than
past
Bachelors. But for a lead, for
example, Matt James has been off for a while. You know, it sort of usually dips after a little while. Matt's still getting like over 50,000 likes, still over 100,000 likes, like on his photos, and like Clayton isn't getting shit.
Nothing.
Whoa.
Nothing.
What a trip.
But anywho, on the Chatty Bros podcast, they were talking about meeting, Clayton meeting the dads. Yeah. And they were saying, what would be the most intimidating type of dad to meet? And then Evan brought up that he met your dad and was like, he was so intimidating. And it's so funny because I forgot to talk to you about it. Oh. Evan was so intimidated by your father. And I was dead.
I need to, okay. Just tell.
So we met your dad for the first time at Ruth's birthday. And the thing is, like, I don't know Joe, but I know about Joe because of you. Yeah. And I see your stories and we talk about him. So I'm like, oh no, I know what his personality is. I'm like, I know he's extremely successful. Yeah. Like, I know these things about him. Evan doesn't really know anything. And so Evan was just like, oh my God. He's like, he started to talk to your dad. And it's just your dad, like the eye contact with your dad and friendly. So it's not like he's like being like not talking to you.
It's not like rude. Yeah.
No, not at all. But just the energy, his again, I don't know this term always, but like the alpha energy is so intense. Your dad asked him a question and Evan was just dripping sweat. He was like, sir.
Mr. Martinez.
And so then when on the podcast, when then Evan said that would be the ultimate, like Becca's dad was so intimidating to me, and Gray's like, dude, he's so intimidating to me. I
still don't know where I stand. And here's what's so funny, like someone.
Doesn't your dad love Grayston?
Yeah. Both my parents love him. It's so funny because I remember who was like, dude, I think your dad like hates me, and I'm like, no, he doesn't know you exist.
He doesn't think of you.
No, he doesn't. He probably does not remember that conversation. You will probably meet him for the first time 3 more times. Yeah. Oh, Joe, you're not on his radar. Most people aren't. Like, he is so classic dad where I've had best friends for years, and he's like, you know, oh, Kim, the blonde who liked root beer floats. I'm like, in my 6th grade birthday party? Like, what are you talking about? Like, what planet are you on? And that's my dad, which now you and my mom are going to have to fight. This is so funny. So I sent that clip of them talking about intimidating dads to the group chat. I was so dead. I said, Dad got a shout out. Notice they didn't mention your sporty smooth style. I'm going to be having a word. And my mom goes, was Evan the cranky guy in shorts who didn't talk to anyone and left early? And my sister goes, shade. And my mom was he cranky? And my mom goes, feeling a little defensive. LOL. Seriously though. And she goes, seriously though, I did keep wondering, who is this guy? And I was like, I don't think intimidating is bad.
I am dead. Is he the cranky guy in shorts?
Who is this guy? I'm like, what are you talking about?
I was like, well, shorts does ring true. I'm like, that sounds like Evan. I'm like, I don't know about cranky.
And I'm like, she didn't know who he was. Like, she's just like, who is this random guy? Oh my God.
I'm dead. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I don't think that intimidating was...
No, intimidating is not an attack.
No, I think it's, if anything, it's more of
your husband's an asshole, okay? Like, I don't know how else to say it.
No, he didn't think your dad was an asshole at all.
Well,
it was, I mean, you're like, well, no. It was like...
No, it's him looking around the room while you're talking to him or just getting up mid-conversation.
No, it was like this man, you know, what made me laugh so hard is I was like, Evan, it's your dad reminds me so much of Evan's dad. Like this very similar energy, but like Evan's dad's the pastor version of it, right? Where it's just, they walk into a room and you sense their presence.
You move out of the way.
And you're just like, I know you're here and I know that you're a boss and I can just smell it from a mile away. So that's childhood
trauma coming through.
Oh, genuinely. Like, no, truly. It was like, he's like, sir. I'm like, why are you? Don't call him sir. I just hit myself with the mic. Dude, that is like, so don't call him sir.
Funny.
It was killing me.
What do you get intimidated by?
I would be intimidated.
I'll tell you, I'm intimidated by people I can't read, and your mom is kind of like that for me. It's not that like she's scary. It's not that she's like, I'm just like,
you can't gauge her at all.
Idea what's going through your head right now, if you're displeased or approve of like what I just said. So I'm not understanding the feedback you're giving, so I am uncomfortable.
Childhood, yes, indeed. I mean, you couldn't nail my mom more. You're like, she's just looking at you and you're like, did you hate what I said? Or are you a huge fan? Or did you hear me at all? Right. Like, is anything tracking? Like, what is going on? Right. No, my mom is the type of person who every time I walk into her home, she gives me a full up down, very visually that I can see it. And I'm like, but then she gives me a full up down and then doesn't acknowledge that she gave me an up down. And I'm like, oh my God, is something wrong?
Can you
do I look terrible? No.
You can't.
No, and we fight about it all the time. Because I'm like, do you not, like, she'll say some stuff sometimes and I'm like, do you not realize how that's maybe rude? And she's like, no. Like, she just doesn't, I don't think she can gauge herself. Now, I guess I would, I probably feel similar to you. That probably would be the most intimidating. If it comes to like meeting family, I am intimidated by someone who is very verbally affirming of their child. Cause I'm like, I'm not going to be able to live up to this.
Oh, and in a dating situation.
Yeah. I'm thinking of like meeting the parents, but in general, if I can't read you, that's really hard for me. I don't get bothered by somebody who's not like, super like, oh my God, so nice to meet you. Who's someone who maybe if someone's a little more standoffish or whatever.
Do you scramble? Do you try to fill the gaps? And this is what great is. He tries to fill the gaps in the conversation.
1,000%.
Talk.
And then I walk away and I'm like, God damn, why did I just run off like that? I totally did that with your parents.
Oh yeah.
When I met them.
Oh, yeah.
But I also then I'm like, I want them to like me.
Yeah.
because like you're Bekah and I want them to approve of me. And I'm like, I'm sorry if we talked about inappropriate things on the podcast.
Yeah.
But I probably was just chatty.
It's so interesting.
Your grandma is everything too, by the way.
My grandma's so nice. She's
Obsessed.
like really easy to get along with.
I really liked your family.
My mom's just, I've actually noticed like recently, like how actually socially anxious my mom is. And I've realized that like the reason why a lot of her friends or people are Christian is because like, it's just like something that it's like a fallback in conversation. And I've realized she gets like really socially anxious around like people who like aren't Christian. And it's not because she like is judging them. She's just like,
she's trying, not knowing what to talk about.
Yeah.
You know what? I mean, that makes perfect sense. If that's what you surround yourself with, right? I feel like it's similar to how, at least I felt, going out after having a baby for the first time.
Totally.
Like all I've been thinking about and talking about is my baby. And then all of a sudden going out and not talking about it, I don't really know what to talk about. So I would kind of gravitate towards another parent to be like, so kids, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just what I've been talking about.
Yeah. But it's so that's just like interesting. I've noticed my dad's better. He doesn't, the problem is that he just doesn't care about but he fixates on weird things. Like Gray will talk about like physical challenges and my dad will be like, or like my dad always, when Gray talks about reading books, my dad's like, wow, like how many books do you read? And Gray's like, oh, like sometimes I'll read, I'll be like, he reads like a book a week. And my dad's like, wow, like he's such a reader. And my dad will always bring that up. Like, yeah, you read all the time. And it's like so interesting the things that he fixates on
that he then
thinks are interesting. So sometimes he does meet people and they'll say something and he'll be like totally fascinated. But then Evan could be like, yeah, I produce music for like this person and that person and that. And he's like, cool. Please stop. You know, in his brain, he's like, enough. I'm going to find someone else more interesting to talk to. And okay.
Who? And disassociating.
Who is that? I don't know. You know, well, Drake never heard of him. But okay.
Your mom and I are going to have to chat. And you can tell her that he was the grumpy guy in the shorts. And you can also tell her that I am very turned on by a guy who is occasionally a grumpster. So
I'm going to tell her that. I'm going to talk to her on the phone today. And tell
you know what's so funny is I never would have thought of Evan as grumpy.
I don't think he gives off that vibe. I think she's just being a little bitchy because she doesn't like someone calling her husband intimidating.
Yeah, I don't think he gives off grumpy.
No, I'm cranky.
Cranky? Oh yeah, I don't think he gives off cranky, but I am turned on by that phrase.
Cranky.
Yeah, you know I like a cranky
guy
kind
in
of
shorts
guy
who leaves early.
You know, I love that like Mark Maron energy that's just kind of grumpy and cranky, and I'm like, yes.
He does not give that off.
No, you know what though? What that could have been is he gets socially uncomfortable. Like,
see, she's projecting now. She's like
time.
That bitch who
when he doesn't know anybody, like if he's at a party and he knows people, he's a little butterfly. But like he gets really like when we pull up to the house and he knows that he's gonna walk in and he just knows you and Gray, he's very nervous.
Yeah.
And he's very like, do people like me? I'm like, Evan, just like chill and hang out and like
remember, no one cares about you.
Yeah, exactly. They don't think of you. They don't think of you.
They do not think of you. You do not cross their minds. All right, let's go.
Broads, make sure you check out the bros. They're going to be bringing the heat, I'm sure, tomorrow. And next week, Eileen Kelly. We're about to do an interview with Eileen Kelly. So check that out for the podcast next week. Very excited. We love you all. Drink your water.
Drink your water.
Chat soon.
Chat soon.